Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be speaking on a subject that was actually a protocol for the actual late 80s, early 90s. A lot of things have changed. I know for a fact a lot of things have changed just for the fact that law enforcement has grown tremendously. They're a big presence now in rural areas. These actual positions they might be fading out just as contracts are still being honored by unions and law enforcement. So when you work in a rural area, you have to depend on different resources, different agencies to secure your safety and to secure the public safety as well. So when uh, when in task to actually do this, you have to be just about ready for anything and step into roles that are not primarily in your actual narrative to your agency. For example, the times I needed backup to cover traffic just for the safety of the public. Highway Patrol, the local sheriffs were always willing to lend a hand. And I have a couple of stories coming up too that I'll see how I'll show how they integrated into our actual operations at times, including with aerial support. So when you have these resident agents, technically they are working out of their home. They might have a trailer somewhere along with different agencies. Like when we were actually out in the middle of nowhere, we shared trailer with actual sheriffs and highway patrol and Caltrans too. So you have to figure it's just it wasn't that small. It was just a compound where you can actually keep your vehicles, your equipment, just basic stuff to actually operate out of a trailer. But now I know for a fact that these don't exist no more. They're actually big operational stations and detention centers. And by doing so, uh, you have the other agency's frequency on the actual on the radio, and therefore they have yours also. And it was always customary to let them know if you were going to be in a certain area, uh, in case you needed any kind of help, any kind of support. It went both ways. So you constantly, not continuous communication, just at your start of shift, you would let them know, and at the end of shift, you would let them know, hey, you're no longer available to as a resource for them, especially when it rains and when it snows. And then when that happens, you just push back and you just let technology, do its thing and push back quite a way far from the actual border, the line you do. So throughout these actual resident agents, they actually take their actual vehicles home. So people start actually noticing things, and I mean, you are vulnerable to that type of patrolling, but it just comes with the territory, and you just want to keep your safety and your family's safety and most important. So you try to do the best you can, but it doesn't always work out that way. And one of the worst feelings coming on shift is when one of them resident agents is not at mustard, and when you ask for them, someone tells you a vague story and that there was a threat on them, and that's about it. And the FBI is handling it and let them do their thing, and you just You just take it in, and 1,000 things are going through your head, And so mine personally was okay. So I was just thinking to myself in my own head, It's like, okay, so when are we going to start doing these shifts to actually protect the agent and his family in their home, That's became first in my mind, and it doesn't work out that way, You just let the FBI do their thing, and they're the ones that are professional. They're the ones that actually have the resources to do such operations. So uh, you just gotta take it in and stay healthy mentally, But it does hit home, because that could be anybody, and that could be anybody's family, and that's one of the bad things about being a resident agent. And that's for multiple agencies too, not just either Border Patrol or High Plus. For a lot of sheriffs, a lot of rural agencies, they roll that way, And then you just got to keep that in mind, and you just got to take caution. And there's a few examples of actual hits on law enforcement, and the only thing that agent could have done better was to change his actual routine on a weekly or on a daily basis if necessary, Just take different routes, know your elements, and they even have gone as far as booby trapping a road with actual logs or branches or something for the agent to actually come off the actual vehicle and light them up, and it's not a good outcome. So you always have to keep that in mind, something that's not common in your ride home. So, example, if you see like some brush and there's no brushes around there, or if they're actually torn off of a tree, you know that actually it could have been set up by a hitman. You know what I mean? And you just have to take into consideration if you don't see anything of that type of branch or tree or shrub or log, good chance that it's will wait on you. So you just have to actually make the adjustments and break out of there as fast as you can, And the chances of them actually getting that individual would be sadly none. You know what I mean? And especially at night and in the middle of nowhere, And that's just one of the realities you had to actually consider, And for us, it would be sometimes even a 2-hour trip to our main office, and we never left our vehicles anywhere in public. It would always be locked behind a sheriff station, border patrol, any kind of federal, any kind of law enforcement actual environment. We were always welcome. We were always uh, given access to their actual parking structure, not the actual building, but if we had to, I guess we would. But for our, I say for our for our private vehicles, and it's one thing you had to keep your team on because it was a long way home. It was a long way to your station sometimes, And that's just another example of how you had to adapt to the actual surroundings. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys.